Hey y'all, so I am doing this video. It took me a while to do it because I knew that fate would eventually play its hand and things would roll out the way that they are currently rolling out, so I didn't see the need, but I wanted to do it just to go over some of the numbers that I've been speaking about recently so you can see how they play out in both the birth date and in the name. So looking at Sean John Combs, who we know is P. Diddy, his birthday is November 4th, 1969. He is 54 years old. And so because his birthday is November 4th, that makes him a Scorpio 4. So his best numbers are the 4, 1, and 9 because he's born on the 4th. So his first number is a 4. 4 and 1 are sun numbers, so they are always paired together. And 9 is the number that goes with Scorpio. Now his stress numbers are the 6, 8, and 2 because 6 directly opposes the 4, 8 directly opposes the 1, and 2 directly opposes the 9. So what does that mean? If we're looking at his demise, and his demise has been in play for a while, but yesterday we know that the home was raided. And so the universal year 2024 is an 8. So we're in an 8 universal year, which is one of his stress numbers. So this year is a stressful year for him because of that 8. And we're in the month of March. So 8 plus 3 is 11. So this makes it an 11 universal month. 11, when reduced, is a 2. So this is also one of his stressful numbers. And then this happened on a Monday. And 2 rules Monday. So that was a stress day for him. And so whenever you're looking at any of the events that happens to anybody, yourself included, look at the best numbers and the stress numbers to see how those numbers play into the day and the time that these events are happening. Now, looking at his life path number. Now, he's born November 4th, 1969. And I'm just reducing his life path number to keep the math simple. And so I'm not going to reduce the 11 because that's a master number. But the 4 and then the year 1969 is reduced to a 7 when you add the 1 and a 9, 10. 10 and 6, 16. 16 and 9, 25. 2 and 5 is 7. And so when you add those together, you get a 22 life path. And 22 is the number of the master builder. As well, he is in a 22 personal year, and I'm looking at 2023 and not 2024 because his birthday is in November. So he hasn't yet reached his next personal year. So he's in a 22 life path. The life path is the number that you have to work toward for your entire life. You do not possess your life path. And so your birthday number, in his case, the 4, is who he is. The 22, 4, is who he is striving to become. And he is also in a 22 personal year. Now, the 22, being the master builder, speaks about somebody who has a lot of power. To whom much is given, much is required. And that 22 energy is one who receives the vision from on high, from higher sources, from the cosmos, and builds something tangible that can be of benefit to society and the world. And we can say that he has been instrumental in building not only structures and institutions in the music industry, but he has also been a part of developing a school for children in Harlem and in the Bronx with the Capital Prep charter schools. And I know I can hear Dr. Umar in my head saying that that's not a school that he built up from the ground up because it is a public school. So it's part of the New York City public school system. But he still chartered the board and put his financing and backing behind the creation of the school, and his name for that matter. And so with that creation of institutions that can benefit people, he has been adding contributions to society. And I was a part of the board that approved that school because I understood, even though I knew who he was from before, that he had to balance his karma. And so I approved the school with the state so that it can be in existence today. Now, the 22 life path, you have the master builder energy, but I also spoke about the 22 being the card of the Fool if you're looking at the tarot. The tarot can be the 0 or it can be the 22. Now, as in all things, there is a positive and a negative spectrum. And so the Fool card is one who steps off the cliff and jumps into the unknown, throwing all caution to the wind and just taking the plunge into new beginnings, new territory, just trusting faith. But the Fool card on the negative end of the spectrum is the card of illusions and delusions. It's someone whose head is so gassed, so big, the ego is so inflated that they believe their own fantasies and they only wake up when they are in danger. They are easily influenced by other people because they feel as though they wield so much power and control over people with that 22. Understand the 22-4 is made up of two twos, and so they use their love, their mediation, their teamwork, the ability to charm people to get what it is that they want, so they can control people with the charismatic personality that they possess. And so the 22 is also a number of somebody who is ill-advised and will only recognize that they're in danger when it's too late. And so that 22 is a card to look out for if you're operating on the negative end of the spectrum. It will come back to bite you because, again, to whom much is given, much is required. In this 22 personal year, he's in his second 4-month period. And when I add 2023, because his birthday hasn't come up yet, to his life path number, which one is not reduced is to 40, he's in an 11 period. And this 11 period, the 11, again, master number energy, talks about hidden dangers, betrayals, the unseen, the unknown, and so falling into traps. This was why I warned about if you're in an 11 period not to do anything that's risky. You don't want to jump into the Fool energy in an 11 period because you're not sure what lies underneath the surface. And also, he's in a 3 cosmic personal cycle. In your personal year, you have 52-day cycles that are lined up with your yearly cardology spread. And so every 52 days, you're in cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And so this third cosmic cycle is aligned with his Mars cycle, as we'll see when we look at the grand solar spreads. And your third cosmic cycle is pretty much aligned to the energy of Mars. And what it cautions against is that this is not the time to go against business partners because they will turn on you and things will get very ugly. So now looking at the name, he was born Sean John Combs. Now the Pythagorean alphabet is the one in red, the Chaldean is in blue. And looking at the Sean, the John, and the Combs, that's 12 for Sean, 20 for John, and 16 for Combs, which comes up to a 48. And when I spoke about the 48 when I did the Hector Lavoe video, 48 is a number of someone who is very successful and prosperous in the music and artistic careers. And so things come very easily to the 48 energy. They attract wealth, they attract relationships. People see them as having very personable and friendly dispositions. Things come to them easy without the necessary work, effort, and struggle. And so 48 is a great number to have on the onset. But remember, 48 when reduced is a 12. And so you will enjoy all of that magnetism, that wealth, and that gain up until the point when you step into that 12 energy. And 12 is the number of anxiety. It is the number of the victim, someone who is sacrificed for the whims, the follies, and the financial gain of others. And so eventually that 48 will come to an end and you will step into that sacrificial energy of the 12. And of course, 1 + 2 is 3, and that is the number of artistic expression. Now, you don't have to do it with the Chaldean alphabet, but I do because I like to see how both alphabets work. And remember, this is his full name at birth, so the Pythagorean alphabet rules here. Well, looking at the Chaldean, he has a 14 for Sean, 18 for John, and 19 for Combs, which is a 51-6. And 51 is one of the greatest sixes to have because 51 talks about the warrior, somebody who can move in dangerous environments unscathed, come out clean as a whistle. Everything that they do as far as their efforts, their endeavors will be successful and will have favorable outcomes. And so you can tell by the arrogance with which he walks that he knows that he will come out of situations unscathed until it's too late. And that has been his fate up until now. But now looking at the name P. Diddy, and this one is a name that he took on, right? It's an alias. So we're looking at the Chaldean alphabet for this one. And so the P. Diddy is what again? A 22-4. And so this is not only his life path number, what he is striving to achieve over the full course of his life. This is the way that he expresses himself. 22-4, that charisma, to attract, to have a following, for people to be led by you, is one of the energy of the 22-4. And so again, when you are misusing that power and that influence, it will lead to your demise, because 22 is ultimately a 4, and 4s don't like to follow rules. A 4 will learn the law to break it and create one that best suits him or herself. That's the energy of a 4. But when you look at the Pythagorean alphabet, you have the 35-8, and this is a number that I spoke about a few days ago with that law of attraction. Again, things coming easily to you, the number of inheritance, not having to work as hard, being a tyrant. But that 35, again, is an 8, and 8s are either hugely successful or big failures on the stage of life. So they will be humiliated on the world stage. There is no in-between for an 8 energy. You're either wildly successful or a huge failure. And so again, when we take on these names, we need to be mindful of the energies that they put out. Yes, the energies are great on one end, but there's also the negative spectrum that you have to be aware of. So whenever you choose a name, you always want to vibrate on the highest end of that frequency. Now, looking at his pinnacles, 51 onward, he has been in a 9 lesson and a 5 challenge. And so the 9 lesson talks about him needing to learn to have compassion, to give to those in charity, give to those in need, to be a philanthropist of the highest order, meaning to exercise integrity and to give to people from a place coming from love, from sincere concern, from empathy, from compassion. That is the lesson number 9, giving of yourself freely to people who really need the support, people who really need the finances, not for your own gain or as a front to do other things. Now, the challenge is a 5, and he had to learn, or has to learn, how not to abuse the energies of the 5, which is freedom, overindulgence in sex, drugs, alcohol, gambling, anything that is considered a vice that feeds the void because you're running away from the problems that you face, running away from trauma, running away from emotions, and so you fill that void with things that feed the body, that feed the physical. And so the 5 challenge is teaching him how to have balance and moderation and not to abuse his freedom, his power. So the 5 challenge is calling him to exercise restraint in freedom, exercise restraint in this abuse of freedom and people for that matter. And so we're seeing that playing out right now. Now, looking at him, 54 years old, when we're looking at his card in Cardology, best way to do it is 55 minus his month times 2. So he's born in November. So November times 2 is 22. So 55 minus 22 minus 4 equals 29, which gives us the birth card of the 3 of diamonds. So we're looking at spread 54 with the 3 of diamonds. And we want to zoom in to see where he is sitting. So at age 54, he is sitting in the house of the Jack of Diamonds, which is the card of the salesman. So the Jack of Diamonds can be a very successful and prosperous salesman. Of course, he's always selling an idea, music, some project. There's also a card of somebody who's dishonest with finances, somebody who's very crafty, spiritually knowledgeable, but can be using that to be crafty and deceptive. And what's challenging him is the 3 of spades, which is the artist card, right? And so the karma coming back from the artistry and things he has done to artists over the years, being dishonest with the artists with whom he deals. But currently, he's in his Mars cycle, and that's what I was speaking about before. So he's in his Mars cycle, and he has the 10 of diamonds sitting Neptune, Mars. Now, if you know about Neptune, Neptune rules the 12th house of hidden enemies, Mars is the card of war, confrontation, of men. And so we can say safely that he has male enemies who are both hidden and known, who are working against him at this time. And with this 10 of diamonds, we immediately go to the wealth, right? The windfall, the financial gain. And so looking at it from that perspective, the 10 of diamonds says that partnerships that he has with business partners, work partnerships, may be threatened because he may be tempted to speak about some of the inner workings or underhanded dealings that are happening, an attempt to take people down with him, attempt to take down business partners, and they, as a result, are retaliating and putting the attacks on him first. And because it's being challenged with the 6 of spades, we know that this is karmic. This is fate. This is destiny. This is his fall that was predestined. And we have a saying, you could do what you like, but never for as long as you like. So we can see that this is a tumbling of the empire because what's pushing it is the 3 of clubs. And this is the Venus card, but him wanting to speak, wanting to write, wanting to talk about it, wanting to express and implicate others in these crimes. And they're like, oh, word, that's what we're doing right now? Okay, we're going to take you down first. And that's what we're seeing with this 10 of diamonds. As well, we can look at the 10 of diamonds as his celebrity card and also the ancestors. Think about the celebrity ancestors that we have: Kim Porter, Biggie, Craig Mack, who have been illed by Diddy. Because 2 of spades, not just about work partnerships, is the card that talks about somebody who is secretly cruel, secretly evil, doing things to harm other people. And so these ancestors coming together because of his secret cruelty to take him down as well, coming together and strengthening that bond to say, well, this will be his demise, this will be his downfall. Because again, Neptune, Mars, hidden enemies. Now, the card that is crowning him is the 9 of spades. And the 9 of spades is the card of death and renewal. And it's more so like a symbolic death, but it's the end of work. It is the end of a lifestyle, the end of life as you knew it. And it's normally about the ending to be reborn, coming into a new way of living. And so with this 9 of spades sitting in the house of the 5 of diamonds is showing that there's going to be a change in his values, a change in his money. And because he has been up financially for all this time, it's showing that he will be now going down financially. That is the change, experiencing a loss of finances, which is also underscored by the 9 of diamonds, which is his challenging karma card. And so that 9 of diamonds speaks about him, 1, having to give to others, 2, again, repent for some of the damage that he's done, but also this playing out on the world stage. 9 of diamonds is the card of going viral. And so we're seeing the downfall of his empire on the world stage. It's going viral on all of the channels because this is something that people have been waiting to see quietly. But the end of an era is coming with that 9 of spades that is crowning him. And the card that is pushing him, this is the moon card, is the Queen of Spades. And I have learned over these last few years to really pay attention to the moon card, and it doesn't matter if you are a Cancer or not. Pay attention to the energy that pushes you into your yearly spread. And the Queen of Spades is a card of self-mastery, but the Queen of Spades is a mean chick. She has no emotion. She could care less. She's about logic. And so she's saying, with this Queen of Spades sitting in the house of the King of Clubs is the card of authority, somebody who has power, power of thought, power of knowledge. It's also somebody who can be abusive or has domestic violence. So she's saying, as a result of your abusive power, using the gifts that you were given with that 22 master builder energy to abuse others, because that's his challenging karma card, the 2 of spades, you will be dealt with in kind. I will be rewarding you with your punishments. The punishment is the reward in this case, right? And so the Queen of Spades is doling out the licks that comes with the lack of self-mastery or using that power to control others in a negative and evil way. And so that's the energy that's pushing into this year, pushing him, that Three of Diamonds, into this year. That Queen of Spades, when she comes to collect, she does not play. Okay, so that Queen of Spades is definitely a mean chick when she's ready, but that is just the karma that comes with his actions. And so just wanted to break this down to you all so you can see how the numbers and the cards play out in the demise of Diddy.